Hi and welcome to Satori Tarot. I'm here with the weekly energy update from the 1st to the 7th of July. I've already premeditated on the cards and we have 3 cards which are already out and I'll get back to them in a bit. I would like to begin this reading with a little understanding about what's happening energetically in the past few days. On the 21st of June, we had a full moon and we also had the summer solstice. So that in itself is tremendous amount of energy. So a few things that have happened, after this full moon is I've had a lot of people come back and tell me that they're being triggered. Things like getting irritated, certain health issues have surfaced, and largely issues related to the respiratory system, may it be the throat or, the lungs, breathing problems, palpitation. So it also affects the digestive system. Along with the digestive system, it affects a little bit of your emotional state as well. So these are triggers that have come up, and these triggers are simply like reminders telling us what we actually need to look into and start working on. Now that's about the full moon and the solstice. What's also happened is on the 29th of June we had Saturn, which went into retrograde. Now Saturn is going to remain in retrograde till the 15th of November. This is a period of profound spiritual reflection and reevaluation. We're all being called to reflect, reevaluate, and shed any unwanted energies, and parallelly also work towards understanding what our soul's purpose is and align our goals in the 3D accordingly. Saturn is also, known to be like the lords of karma. So Saturn in retrograde, it actually urges us to clear any kind of karmic baggages. It also brings light to a lot of family and generational traumas and wounds, and these may come up or surface as triggers. So now let's quickly move on to what we have in front of us. So the first card that we have here is the Lovers, the Ace of Swords, and the Death card. Now in alignment with what we were talking about, with the Saturn retrograde and what it's asking us to do, this reading to me calls out to give a little bit of clarity about what needs to be done. So if you look at these 3 cards, what I actually understand from here is there are 3 simple C's here. The first one, the Lovers, that is the commitment. The Ace of Swords, it gives us clarity. And the Death card or the Transformation card, which talks about closure. Now let's quickly dive into the cards that we have here. We have the Lovers, we have the Ace of Swords, and we have the Death card. So if you look at the Lovers card, the Lovers card in itself speaks to me as a need of commitment. It's also a card of communication, that goes without saying. But here in front of me, if I have to sum it all up, I can say that there are 3 C's right here in front of me, which is the basics of every relationship. And karma is got everything to do with relationship, because we're all working on soul contracts. What are the contracts of give and take that we have with the people around us? And it's not only the give and take that we do, it is also the lessons that we have to learn with these experiences. And that is what karma is all about. It's all about learning the lessons. You learn the lessons, and the replication of anything which is positive, negative, may either change course or it'll just disappear. So coming back to what we have here, we have the 3 C's. We have the Lovers, which is commitment. We have the Ace of Swords, which is clarity. And we have the Death card, which is the closure card or the transformation card. So when we talk about commitment, clarity, and death or rebirth, it's so simple to break a relation down and understand, what the karmic playout of this entire thing could be. So this is what we are being called to reevaluate. Now the question is how. Simple way of looking at it is if we simply go down and evaluate the experiences and use these 3 C's to understand the kind of relationships we have, then the re-evaluation process becomes a little easier. So it all talks about what is the course correction that you need to get into, or what is it that you need to completely bring an end to. So if I have to give you a simple example, if you look at, any relationship, since we're talking about karma, it's all about soul contracts and relationships. So we have the Lovers, we have the Ace of Swords, and we have the Death card. So that's, in any relationship, you either have a commitment. If you don't have a commitment yet, say it's a new relationship and you do not have a commitment and you don't know whether you want to get into a commitment, there needs to be some element of clarity. So basically you can't just keep leaving someone, in the loop, and not telling them or not giving them clarity as to where this relationship is going. Nowadays when we talk about relationships, the dynamics have changed tremendously over a period of time, and karmic closures are happening much closer, and much faster. So people are interacting and completing their karmic contracts with each other. But the sad part is, not very many people have the knowledge of how to do it consciously. And hopefully this reading is going to help us to walk that path a little easier. So coming back, so in a dynamic, you either have a commitment which is already known, or you have clarity. So in certain relationships, where you're not certain whether you want to go ahead or not, so it's always good to turn around and tell the person that, what, I'm not sure where this is going. Let's just be friends, or let's just take one day at a time, or let's just not talk for a bit and then reconnect maybe after a month or two and then see how it goes. So basically, any kind of clarity that helps both parties come to a mutual understanding, which will help them lead their own lives in a more peaceful manner, and you're not creating any more negative karma. You're also understanding through this clarity what is the karmic contract that you have with that individual and where do you think it will lead. Now, if you don't have commitment or clarity that you would like in the relationship, then what do we have left? We have the closure, we have the Death card. Now if you look at it, it goes in multiple ways, like this could be the initial stages of a relationship, it could be a relationship that is years old, it could be a lifelong relationship, whatever it may be. From when it comes to karma, okay, let me put it across this way. When it comes to karma, you are not given an opportunity to explain what happened and why it happened and the people involved. Karma is karma, and we have to pay, whether it's good karma or it's bad karma. As you sow, so you reap. So since we are talking about all these energies which are coming forward and telling us, go ahead, clear your karmic baggages, it's important for you to do that, because we are all leveling up. The entire planet is now ascending into another timeline altogether, another dimension altogether, and Earth is being prepared. All of us are being prepared, and I'm sure the ones watching this are watching it for a reason, because you want something better out of life, you want something different out of life, right? Now, coming back to what I said earlier about the 3 C's. So when you evaluate your karmic relationships on this plane, in this particular lifetime or previous lifetimes, or even if it is, if you're talking about your generational trauma or generational baggage that you would like to end, if you would like to end your patterns, you need to understand that even if you want to end a pattern, you'll have to replace it with a new one, something which is more productive, something which takes you towards your soul's purpose. So the 3 C's here, which is the Lovers card, which talks about communication, about your commitment that you have for each other to bring about a balanced way of being, clarity as to what is it that you want from this karmic contract, and eventually the Rebirth card, which talks about either the death of that particular relationship, or the end of a relationship, or a karmic cycle, or a karmic contract. Or it could also mean that using these tools, you can then take that relationship to a whole new level altogether. Let me quickly check if there is anything else that comes out as a message. There you go. This is the card of choices. So you need to understand, what you're being divinely guided to make the right choices, to re-evaluate situations. And while you're re-evaluating the situations, it is also important for us to understand that we're all divine souls in a human body. But while we are in a human body, we get caught up with human emotions. And while we get caught up in human emotions, emotions take over, and it's very, very, very difficult to then make difficult discussions, like especially when it comes to the death and the rebirth card. So what happens is you end up getting into a loop, and that loop is like a back and forth, a replay of everything that's happened in the past. So you're basically just living out a pattern, you're not living a life, you're not achieving your soul's purpose. So what we're all being called to do as the collective here is actually reevaluate all our contracts that we have had in the past, we currently have, and we aspire to have in the future, and look at it from the karmic perspective, because we are being called for the ascension of the entire globe, and we need to understand which direction we are going to take. I'm also called to pull out a card from another deck that I have. Let's see the messages that we have here today. There you go. So it's asking you to be creative. This is the card of creativity, and then you have the life force. So when you look at this entire reading, it talks about the kind of creative approach that you will take to play out all your karmic contracts here. Utilize this time during Saturn retrograde to actually bring out a positive way of being. The life force, the energy within you can actually transform if you're able to handle your karmas and your karmic contracts in a very aware and directed manner. So you're actually working towards reaching a higher version of yourself very consciously instead of trying to do it unconsciously. Um, there is a lot of hard work that needs to go into this, but I'm sure if the hard work is put in, then we will have a wonderful outcome. Let's quickly pull one more card. There you go. So this again, see how it's correlated. It all talks about discipline. The 3 C's, you have to have that kind of self-discipline to be able to have a non-judgmental approach towards all your karmic contracts with all the souls that you have met in this lifetime, in other lifetimes if you believe so, and then work about the actual soul evolution that we were talking about. That's where you start understanding your soul's purpose, and that's how you can realign your goals to aspire what your soul is here to achieve. I hope this reading helps. Again, this is a collective reading, so take it as it resonates. And if you feel called to do a reading, please do get in touch with me. My details are mentioned in the caption below. Lots of love and light to you all.